in the upper left, in the red. It's been his year, but not his day. It's Bunny.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom right for the Shopify Rebellion. Give it up for Lambo. The Professor Zerg. He's a strong player. He's such a great strategist, excellent approach to the game, and just a really strong series prep player overall. So in one sense, it's very good that he was able to, find a matchup that he was able to predominantly practice for, which is to say dominantly practice for. Like, he only had to practice ZVT. I mean, now obviously he's got Classic in the group, but he didn't know about that beforehand. And you have to assume, if you beat 4 players in your group, you're going to do just fine. So understandable. However, the only unfortunate thing about that is that TVZ and ZVT, respectively, from both perspectives, they're matchups that strategy can only get you so far. You can definitely win some games and, catch opponents off guard, and especially in a format where you're going to be playing against multiple different players, and it's just going to be best of 3s. So, like, even stealing a map here or there is a big deal. But it is the matchup where mechanics are so incredibly important.
That being said, Steadfast, you talk about, yes, mechanics are true. That's in part why Ryung struggles so hard in this matchup compared to how dominant he is in those other 2. But I've been hearing a lot of very good things about Lambo because, again, he has been drilling this singular matchup for the last month. And from what I hear, not only from him, but from players who've been practicing against him, he has turned into a terrifying TVZ player, a beast of a TVZ player. Now, of course, playing in practice games is not nearly the same thing as playing on the big stage with a tournament life on the line, with your chance to go 1-1 and actually really keep a good position in the group. So there's a lot more than just how good you are at the game going into this game.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about performance. That's what the World Championship is about. It's about, can you, show what you've done in the year up to this point and really build on that, find a way to, present your best self and just muscle through, grit your teeth and get through it, because this is a long, grueling tournament. Even if you're only playing 2 best of 3s in a day, they are high tension best of 3s. And we're going to see, for now, some pretty standard play from both players, but already something that's a little bit different from Bunny. He takes the 3rd CC. No 2-base all in.
That's really interesting for multiple reasons, right? On the one hand, how do you take a 3rd base on Dragon Scale? It's so wide open, you can't wall it off. Ling run bys are going to be a problem like the entirety of the game. And also, we talk about, Bunny is a timing player. He's a proxy Thor player. He's a 2-1-1 type of player. He's this momentum Terran. That's how he beats Serral. So, yes, you will try to go get momentum later on, of course, but giving Lambo momentum in the early game is a very interesting decision, and I wonder if it has anything to do with how the Lambo Beyond series went.
He may have looked at that and said, you know what, I think Lambo is pretty locked down. I don't want to run into this. By the way, we've got something really nice out of Bunny here. He gets the Raven, and I think he's faking Cloak right now.
Yep.
Ooh, look at that. Even starts up a Viking to show that the starport is still active. Oh, this is so nice out of Bunny and Lambo. Did he take the bait? I don't know if he saw everything right at the start. He might think that this is a fake, but we're going to see in the next 10, 15 seconds if he actually starts up spores. Because if he does, great move from Bunny. Either way, it's a great move from Bunny, but does Lambo take the bait is the big question. By the way, great split on these Hellions.
No, he's not taking the bait, right?
Queens.
Yeah, great. Well, the Queens are going to have to run back. Raven actually takes a lot of damage, but the auto turret is going to try to box him in. One Queen's going to go down. Oh, Raven gets so low, but not low enough.
He could have killed it.
Oh, yeah. So Lambo doesn't hit the bait here, Steadfast, but more importantly, he had a pretty quick lair coming. Like, it's going to be 5:30 and the lair's going to be done. So I don't know that he really needed a ton of spores anyways, again, because he would be able to get that relatively quick overseer. Regardless, Raven runs across the map. Bunny builds Cloak for a second for really minimal gain, but hey, you get a queen. And maybe that's going to be enough.
No, he's going to be looking for more than that. Yeah. Now, the fact that the Raven didn't die, at least, Lambo could have killed it. It was very exposed on 12 HP. He was just panicking, I think, a little bit to get the queens back in position and cover this left side. And I don't blame him. You know, it's you're like, oh no, my queens are about to get overwhelmed. I got to deal with this. But it's ultimately pretty fine. Now, Lambo just, well, this is interesting right here with the macro hatch placement. But he's going for a quick Bane speed with this. We are going to see an attack coming through and trying to find one of these queens. Not going to be able to get it. Nice transfuse from Lambo. Oh, big shot on the Lings there. And we can see that Bunny is really trying to take control of this location here. It's such a great spot for tanks to push your opponent. And it really does let you kind of lock down this right side base as well, this 3 o'clock base. So if Bunny can continue to push the creep back around those rocks, I think that's going to be where he looks to push.
Yeah, now that you mentioned it, Steadfast, I'm kind of surprised to see Bunny or Lambo just not really focusing on knocking those rocks down. Because again, you mentioned it is so important. But I want to point out a couple things. First of all, Lambo is on 5 hatch, 6 hatch really with the macro hatch very early into this game, as that's going to be one Baneling going down. They're going to be able to escape. Other thing, right, we talk about, okay, where's Lambo doing here? He's partially getting that base just because it's good to have, but it also means that wherever Bunny pushes, he's going to have just some sort of press release valve. The Lings are going to try to get on top of the Hellions.
Nice.
Auto turret doesn't do anything anymore. It dies so quickly. Some of the Hellions get out, but not enough. The other thing is because that is such a pushable position at the third base, he gets the lair there. It's just a little bit extra HP, but in the context of games like this that can be so razor's edge back and forth, that can be the difference between losing your third base and keeping it alive. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that, whether that is going to make the difference. Certainly, though, that pushing position, the rocks are not down. The tanks, they're going to siege up on the other side.
That they are, and Lambo, his 1-1 is not done, but the combat shield is not yet done for Bunny either. I think it was a little bit late. We're going to see Lambo setting up for a big flank. Ooh, Scan misses this set of Zerglings and Banelings. And that might mean he thinks that there's a counterattack coming across the map. Meanwhile, Queens are actually getting gunned down so quickly. Lambo is going to take the fight. We do see, a nice hot pickup, but that means the tanks in the back are fully exposed. And Lambo, he's going to be able to clean this up. And additionally, he's going to be able to get some creep on the other side if he drops it right away. But he might just try and push right now. Siege Tank, gets a good shot on those Banelings, but Lambo with a decent spread. He's going to find a nice Baneling connection on these Marines on the right side. Infestation Pit on the way behind this from Lambo, but Lambo, he's on 89 drones behind all this. He defended great, and he does save a good amount of his creep, all of his bases, and I really like this position for Lambo right now.
Now he's looking fantastic. I got to point this out, though. Bunny, his target fire in the Banes with the tanks that were going down, going forward, has been really good. Lambo lost a couple more Banes than he probably should have, and I guess maybe that's the silver lining that Bunny is looking for, but this game is going to have to go later if Bunny wants to win now. That big bit of pressure, it's not working out. He's got his 4th base on the way. Banelings are now going to try to find their way into the 3rd base. There's a wall here, and that is going to go down. So the Banelings or the SCVs will try to run away. Last connection, 11 workers go down. And the tanks actually work against Bunny a little bit because I think Friendly Fire got a couple of those SCVs. So Bunny, his aggression didn't work. He takes damage on the other side. His economy that he's greeted out for is not nearly as powerful as he would like it to be. But these Overlords, one of them is going to go down even more. There's just not enough Lings. Lambo's going to find himself hella supply blocked on the left side, and even as the Lings will force this back out, that is going to delay Lambo's timing rather significantly.
That was 5 Overlords that just fell right there. That is, that's the Overlord farm that you really did not want to lose. We see this drop on the left side is going to just kind of get pushed back. Creep will start to get cleared a little bit. There is still this Raven here. But we're going to see a flank coming in from Lambo. He takes out the Woodbine before it can burrow. And that means he saves actually one of the active tumors. So he's not even going to be slowed down with this creep spread. Yeah, Lambo is playing great. Bunny going to try and outmaneuver these Lings. But Lambo, we can see, he controls those Lings for a little bit. He says, no, I'm not losing track of your drop. And he is playing pretty phenomenal ZVT right now. He's got great creep spread all over the map. Lots of clusters of Ling Bane. He's got his hive finishing up. As I say that, was that a mine? That had to have been a mine drop, right?
Yeah.
It was, yes. 7 drones. Still, that's actually, if he lost the medevac too, that's actually not worth it, I think. Okay, no, he's just going to lose these. Ooh, but Lings and Bane's coming on forward. They're going to find quite a few SCVs. They might... This command center is getting very low. He needs to repair that lickety split, but yeah, he should be able to.
Yeah, so Bunny trying to distract Lambo, dropping the, what is it, the fourth base, or we don't mind dropping the fourth base, drop elsewhere. But Lambo just beelines across the map. He gets 14 more workers, and that is far more damage than Bunny has found out. If anything, this drop's going to get picked up on the middle. And now, here comes Bunny. He's going to run across the map. He does have that 2-2 timing, but the Lings of the base, they run forward. Widowmines are going to go down before they get one shot. It's not going to be enough, and now here comes Bunny into the third base. Hero Widowmines once again trying to keep him alive. Lings and Banelings, they find their way into the third, but Bunny, that one cluster of bio on the right side under the Liberator, it stays alive. Even still, though, 13 SCVs fall, but on the other side, were those the Widowmines from earlier? I think so, yeah, on the right side. That last one gets 5 more workers, and it doesn't make up for the damage that Bunny's taken, but at least it's something.
No, it certainly doesn't, but yeah, like you said, it's better than nothing. Spore Crawler finally repositions here. We actually have the Ultralisk Cavern, which in this situation is a great decision from Lambo. Normally, Ultras, you know, in late game ZVT, they're not the best, but against an opponent that can't afford to go into Ghosts, Marauders, Liberators in significant numbers, Ultralisks are going to be great against Stemmed Marines. Now, will we even see the game get to that point? Not necessarily. We do see a big counterattack coming in from Lambo. He's going to shut down the third base mining, and he's going to find quite a few SCVs, going to kill this factory even. But here comes the big fight. Ooh, Lings and Banes getting it on top of some of the Marauders. Big pickups from Bunny, but Lambo is starting to run away with the army supply as well as the worker supply.
Yeah, this is game. I do want to point out, though, that one Ling that was trying to chase the wounded SCVs down. Widowmine friendly fires against a couple more SCVs, which is fun. Bunny finds his way into the main base. He's kind of relying on this mobility that he has, and he will chase down a lot of these drones, but he's going to have to get so much with his Deny 3-3 would be really nice, but he's trying to get economic damage. Anything he can. He's not targeting the Evo chambers down, and these 2-2 Lings, yeah, they don't have 3-3. They're going to clean up everything, and Lambo looks really good in this matchup.
That he does. He looked very strong. You were saying it before we started, before we got into this, that Lambo was looking incredible in this matchup, and he does. But I was a little bit skeptical after I saw the comeback from Beyond. I was like, he was struggling a little bit with the multitasking. It's tough, but he looked strong there. We do have to mention, though, Dragon Scales. You said it at the beginning. It is so difficult to defend a third base against run-bys. And that was one of the big points of weakness, I feel like, that Lambo, well, he was very successfully able to take advantage of.
Yeah. By the way, I know it's a misleading stat because of the style that Lambo played. He played like 8 hatch early on, and it's all Ling Bane. But Lambo played that game at over 600 APM. He ended the game with 606 average APM. And again, repeat rates, building a lot of Lings, building a lot of Banes, whatever. Okay. That's still wicked fast.
Yeah, exactly. It is a speedy setup. Really, really quite quick. Obviously, you know, there's a little bit of a lie to that. Obviously, Zerg APM is a little bit inflated, but I mean, if you looked at the creep spread, you looked at the macro, he was very clearly still going quite fast.
Yeah, no. So again, Lambo is fully warmed up here. He played Beyond earlier. Yeah, he lost that series, but he won game 2 and probably should have won game 1. So that's looking good. The question now is whether Bunny is going to have what he's looking for. It's Gresfon. It is a map that is very good for mech, but I don't think Bunny's a mech player. Certainly, it's a map that's good to getting into late game. You can take the one base in the middle, and it unlocks a couple more. But that's not Bunny's wheelhouse, Steadfast.
Not necessarily, but I mean, he's definitely capable of it. And I think if he did go for it, I think it would still be reasonable. The thing is, he might still just be more confident in his bio. And players have been playing bio versus Zerg for so long that switching to mech, if you're not a mech player traditionally, or even if you just haven't played it for a while, you might just be saying to yourself, like, yeah, the new Cyclone is great and it's really strong, but I don't want to play outside of my wheelhouse right now. And you can't blame them if that's how they feel.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Bunny has, because again, you only have to plan for 2 series every day. You got to assume that Bunny has plans for different maps. You got to assume that Gressfon is going to find its way through. So it's going to be interesting to see what he has planned. Because Lambo, he came prepared. We saw, again, a bunch of quick bases everywhere and interesting macro hash positionings, playing kind of a middle ground of how Dark plays Link Bane and some other players with the quick hive, but Ultra Cavern, not quite as quick as Dark. He has an idea about how he wants to approach this matchup. It's going to be up to Bunny now to figure out exactly how he wants to counter that, because right now, again, Lambo is looking very good. So, folks, potentially the last game here on the B stream for today. It's going to be Lambo Bunny. Remember, Lambo's up a map. Let's see if we go to game 3. Into the upper left, folks. In the blue for the Shopify Rebellion, it's Lambo.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom right, having himself a rough start to the group. But can he turn it around for Team NV? It is Bunny. And this is what I was maybe expecting on Dragon Scales, but he's going to go for it here. It's going to be Command Center first. And you know what? I like it. I think it's a good choice. I honestly wouldn't have minded, based on who Bunny is as a player and the fact that he didn't go CC first, I actually wouldn't have minded a proxy hatch Roach Ravager out of Lambo in this game, because Bunny does this CC first all the time. Now, you mentioned that Lambo is extremely confident in his ZVT these days, but mixing things up, doing some wild stuff like that, that's the kind of thing that will get you out of a group like the one that Lambo is in. You know, that's the kind of wild, unpredictable play that is going to make people say, oh, maybe I shouldn't go Command Center first against him. He might just pull out a knife and, you know, stab me while I'm doing that.
Yeah, it's kind of, you also, yeah, it turns a good player into a great player, or a great player into a champion. That's why we saw Cyril, I guess in fairness that's after Cyril had won at BlizzCon, but that's why we saw Cyril messing around with all-ins and early game things and losing a lot of games in the process, or more games than we would expect Cyril to lose at the very least, because it forces you, it makes it harder for your opponents to predict. But at the end of the day, Zergs have less options. For all it, yeah, you can proxy hatch Roach Ravager. You can go with some sort of other Roach Ravager pressure, but that really is kind of it in the modern meta, and most Terran build orders kind of hard counter a lot of it. So
yes,
it's awkward. I understand the desire Steadfast, but in this matchup in particular, I guess you can proxy hatch, but I don't even like that.
No, it's, yeah, well, I mean, if you do drop a proxy hatch to the natural, it's kind of the hard counter to Command Center first.
True.
And that's just like a pressure build. Like it's just so unbelievably good. You get the creep up. It's so difficult to deal with. Now, Bunny did open up Command Center first into just Marine. So his first scouting information is when 4 Lings show up at his natural expansion and kill 1, maybe 2 SCVs. This is, I mean, if he loses both SCVs here, okay, he's going to pull back into the main base. But I think Lambo is more than happy to go for this. Oh, can he get that last SCV? Oh, he wraps around from the back. Oh, yeah, that's a big win for Lambo for sure. Full scout, 2 SCVs kind of nullifies a little bit of the advantage of getting that CC first. Yeah, this is a very good start for Lambo here.
That it is, and now speed halfway done. And yes, this is a delayed speed that Lambo has gone for. Well, it makes sense, right? The former class player playing the delayed clash opening. But in a game like this, it's Gressfon. He got more than enough damage done with those first 4 Lings that you're kind of okay with that. Hellions are going to try to find their way onto the third, but it's just not getting droned up just yet. Three queens at the front. Maybe this Banshee, though, is Cloakless Banshee, and we're going to see a second one, I assume. Maybe that is going to find the damage that Bunny needs, because Lambo, he certainly scouts it. Wait, does he scout that Cloak is being researched?
He does, yeah, but now this looks like fake Cloak. And Bunny might have looked at the replay real quick, or potentially at the build order tab and said, you didn't build any spores. I'm going to delay Cloak on purpose to make you think that it is not that. And you know what? Lambo, I think he thinks this is Raven once again, or he thinks it's a Liberator. He certainly does not think it's real Cloak.
Well, he's getting one spore.
He is, but I think that's an anti-liberator slash anti-Raven harass spore. That's certainly not a Banshee spore, because you would always get 3 spores against that. I mean, it might just be an insurance policy. Yeah, especially with the positioning of the second spore. Yeah, he definitely thinks this is a liberator or just Raven harass.
Yeah, but at the very, okay, so the spore positioning's not ideal. I agree. It's only 2 spores. It's not 3. Sometimes you even want a 4th to defend the rally position. But at the very least, it will give him some detection and some ability to ward off at least some of that Banshee pressure until his lair is done. Because Steadfast, his lair is about 20 seconds out, maybe. He will be able to have that Overseer. It's a very thin timing where the type of style that Bunny has gone for with these Banshees is going to be effective. In fact, the lair is done right now. As soon as these Banshees, show their heads, we're going to have Overseers go down. And the question now is how much
going to be
Bunny...
too late.
Yeah, okay, so into the third base they're going to go. And, well, the drones are going to have to get pulled. Missed target, so it's only 2 workers at the start. And, yeah, this is 4 workers already, but how much more? Oh, he unburrs the spore.
Oh, yeah, he was just repositioning it right there. He had to. Lambo does mitigate damage about as best as possible with a relatively quick drone pull there. But he loses 7 drones, a lot of lost mining time. And now the Banshees get to just find any potential chip damage. Good job from Lambo to get on top of this with the Queens. But behind this, we got to mention, this is a 2-base all-in out of Bunny. This is a CC first powered Banshee into 2-base all-in. It's 5 racks, not just 3, so it's not just going to be a light pressure. This is going to be a heavy commitment. We see the creep spread starting to be cleared up in the middle. Of course, Lambo going to try and respread that, and Hellions are not really here to shut this down. And the good thing about this quick layer from Lambo is that the Bane speed is going to be quite fast. And he's still on 70 drones. But let's look at that army supply. It's now a 30 army supply lead for Bunny here. Lambo, oh, he's still droning. Oh, no. He has no idea that it's a 2-base all-in.
No, he's been so distracted by the Hellion pressure on his side of the map. He hasn't had Overseers on the other side. No Lings checking, able to find their way in. Nothing. He's not going to have vision of these Marines as they run across the map either. So he's got Banelings on the way. That's good, but he's going to need more than 4, and he's going to need to buy a lot of time. He's sitting, though, on 10 Queens. And Steadfast, as much damage as this has been, as annoying as this has been, 10 Queens can buy you a lot of time to try to get the defense that you do need. But here we go. Combat Shield is done. The Marines, they're going to stim forward. 6 more Banelings on the way. Baneling speed done in 4 seconds. How long is Lambo going to... How much time is Lambo going to be able to buy? Because right now, Queens are starting to fall. Overlords, Overseers are starting to fall. Lambo, though, he's got a counterattack on the way. I don't know he's going to have the time for that.
Yeah, this is so many Marines already. They have their combat shields. Oh, Bunny needs to move back. He does actually eat a pretty big Baneling shot right there. And the Lings and Banes, I think they just found a tank as well. So that's actually about the best case scenario here for Lambo. But he's got, no units on the field. He's got 12. So, okay, he is popping out a few lanes. Oh, the tank target fire on those Banes, blowing up so many of them on the right side. And Bunny, he is up, what is that, 40 army supply, 50 army supply? Yeah, he's just going to storm on forward, and there is not a whole lot the German Zerg player can do.
Those 70 drones you talked about, Steadfast, they were larvae that he could not turn into army. Sometimes you play against your idea of how the player is going to play, and that's kind of what happened with Bunny. We expected him to maybe go to 3 bases, hit pressure there, but it was just the 2-base pressure. It kind of killed him, and that means that we are going to go into game number 3, and I think the key thing here is we saw both players take the map that we would expect them to take. Not the way we expect them to take necessarily, but Aggressifon's more, it's not nearly as bad for Terran. If we can say it, any map in this series thus far has been a Terran favorite map, it's that one. Dragon Scale's very good for the Zerg, and we saw why. But now we're going to move into Neo-Humanity. And this is an enigma wrapped inside a mystery, wrapped inside some other mysterious thing. It's going to be, I don't have a good read on which race this really favors.
It's a little tricky. It favors, I think, different players, maybe more so. I don't think we're going to see anything necessarily in the form of strong timing attacks on this map, which will work against Bunny. And if Lambo plays heavy macro like he did in the previous game, I mean, that's going to be great for him. But I would love to see Bunny do the exact same thing that Ryung did against Cham yesterday, and that is to SCV block the 3rd base location at that pocket location. I think that is a great play, and it opens up a lot of interesting options for aggression. The other option, we could see Battle Mech on this map. I mean, we've been talking about it all weekend. Well, it's not even the weekend yet. We've been talking about it in the last day and a half, 2 days. We haven't seen Battle Mech yet, despite a lot of the Zerg players saying, I don't know how to deal with Battle Mech. And the little bit we have seen of it, it's actually experienced quite a bit of success.
Yeah, we saw Special take down a map against a laser by doing that. We'll talk about that more, though, folks, and the other fun things that Neo Humanity provides, because Game 3 is here. And in the upper left, in the blue, he took game 1, but had a disastrous misread in the second game. It's Lambo.
And his opponent, spawning down in the bottom right for Team NV, it is Bunny. Striking back hard in game number 2. I mean, he is pretty well known for this CC first into 2-base all-in play. Now, Lambo, I mean, I don't blame him for the misread, but yeah, it's just one of those things where, you know, you get a little bit discombobulated early. Those Banshees, they catch you off guard. I really like the series prep from Bunny. The fake cloak in game number 1 made Lambo think that it was fake cloak in game 2, and that's so sexy. That is just an awesome move. And it gets him, you know, kind of knocks Lambo a little bit off of his game. He's a very methodical, very, I would say, by the book player. So whenever you knock him off his game plan a little bit, it is going to cause him to maybe become a little bit discombobulated. And I think that's what happened, and I think that's maybe what lost Lambo the sight of the overall game, and he kind of was maybe got a little lapse on his scouting as a result of that, or maybe he just was like, okay, you're not going to go cloak Banshee into a 2-base all-in. That's not your modus operandi. And either way, it results in a game number 2 victory. Very well done. And we're going to see it. We're going to see the hatch block. Love it.
Yeah, it's harkening back to like Eternal Empires, right? Where there is really, realistically, only one viable third base. I mean, yeah, you can try to expand linearly, but it takes a while. You have to mine out the wall. Not what a Zerg wants to do, and you can't really get through the wall before the Reaper arrives. So we're going to see Lambo now. He still has designs on taking this third base. The Lings are going to sally forward, but the interesting thing, we don't see him trying to mine that mineral wall out. I guess he's relying on his patience beating Bunny's, but Bunny's just keeping the SCV there. This is, yeah, he tries again. It's just not going to work. I guess maybe regen so the drone can eventually win the fight, but there's going to be a Reaper here. When does Lambo get a third?
Well, not for a while, and that's a bad time for the Zerg player here. Lambo also has not adjusted by getting an extra queen. This is so uncomfortable. He has to wait for the queen to push this away. Nice dodge on the grenade. Good job from Lambo. If that grenade goes down, that's another 2, 3, 4 seconds maybe where this hatchery doesn't get taken. He finally gets it down, but at 37 supply. You want to be taking that hatch at 28 supply with the modified Clash opener. That's not a comfy situation here for the German Zerg player. And Bunny, he's going to be very happy about how much he's delayed that.
Yeah, the other interesting thing as well, we talked about this map. Okay, there's only really one possible third, so it's really fun seeing the Terrans do that. I've heard some Zergs talk about how this map is free in the early game. I mean, okay, third base expansion, fine. But because of these rocks in the middle. Now, you might say, wow, that's a lot of HP to try to knock down. But remember, that's cut in 4. It does not take, it's not nearly as long. And if you were able to knock those rocks down before the Hellions really start to try to circulate, that then means that they have to run far around to try to find their way into the natural and the third base to put that pressure on. But if you have your third bases delayed and you're already this discombobulated, you can't take advantage of that at all. Bunny is in the lead here in this game 3. The question though, Steadfast, what can he do with it? How does he take this slight advantage and turn it into a game-winning one?
That is a good question. I like the way he's done it so far. By the way, I think Lambo might have just gotten supply blocks because he had like 4 overloads on the production tab. I wasn't actually paying attention to the numbers right away, but I'm looking at his drone count, and it feels pretty low for this stage of the game. Like a couple lower than maybe you'd like to see it at this point. But I love the way Bunny is doing this. He went for the very fast third CC, went for a quick Viking as well. Does he add on the Liberator? He certainly can't afford it, but he is not going to do so. He's just going to use it to build a reactor. And I'm liking this. I'm liking this very much. It's just a super greedy play from Bunny. And oh my goodness, Lambo's been supply blocked so brutally. His worker count is horrendously low for this stage of the game.
Yeah, you think back to how Raynor was playing again. Yes, okay, it's a good special. It's not Bunny, but even, or whoever Raynor was playing against, that ZVT we cast earlier. Thank you, Spirit. He was at 54 drones at 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He was at like 42 at the same time. And yes, part of it is because Bunny did a lot to deny his third base, and there are other things part of this. That is still a 10 worker delta amongst two players that realistically should not have taken that much damage in the early game.
And not just that, it's a 10 workers. It doesn't sound that bad.
Oh,
obviously,
that bad.
anyone. But no, it's pretty darn bad. It's 20% of the economy at that point. To reframe it, like it's a big deal, and it's against a player that got the best economic build you can really get as Terran, without going like CC first into fast third CC. Oh, but Lambo with a counterattack, this could be huge. The wall is open, and it is huge.
Or no, it's not. The Lings
but he hesitates. Oh.
And you got to feel that shouldn't have happened anyways. The Lings of Lambo, they just show up and kind of hang out at the wall for a second before they run in. So Bunny had an opportunity to raise the depot. I wonder if he thought that he had enough stuff and said, okay, look, I'll trade with your Lings. Regardless, big run by from Lambo fails to materialize. Lambo does have his fourth base up. You know, he is getting that macro hatch. He's getting the Ford. He's getting the rich gas base too, which is, that's been one of the hallmarks of how Lambo has been playing. Extremely quick upgrades. He's taking the fourth and the fifth at the same time.
Nice Hellions.
Oh, very nice Hellions, especially with the slow zone there. But Steadfast, this he's got to knock the rocks down, I would think. This is a terrifying pushing position for the Terran.
Yeah, this is a pretty strong setup, but we are going to see the attack on the left side instead. Ooh, nice flank coming in from Lambo. Bunny kind of bunching up on the left side. Doesn't get the full lift off. This is going to be an amazing cleanup here for Bunny, but hold that thought, actually. The Hellions getting in behind the tank, getting some huge splash damage, and Lambo was not prepared for that at all. That ends up going way better on the tail end off the back of an expertly placed tank and a very nice little positional setup on the drop of those Hellions.
Yeah, you think the tank's undefended, everything's up, but there was like one Ling fighting that tank at any given time. It was not gonna go down. Now Lambo, of course, he is slow on his armory, so while he did have that 1-1 timing advantage, his 2-2 is not gonna be nearly as far ahead. This run by from Lambo, though, it's stymied. It was found out by a couple Marines early, and it's gonna be forced back, so Lambo not getting the counterattack. Ling's coming from the side, and again, the Marines are getting picked up, but into a low medevac, and it will go down. Even still, the tank of the high ground, it's targeting every single Baneling, and that has been the story of Bunny in this series. His tanks are getting every single little ball of acid that they can, and now the push continues. Yes, the tank fell, but that was far more costly for Lambo than it was for Bunny. And Steadfast, remember behind this, Bunny's got a fourth base on the way. He doesn't need to do a game-ending damage with this push, but he's kind of doing it anyways.
Yeah, he's getting some huge work done right now. He's trading so efficiently, doubly efficiently, in fact, at the moment. We got 2-2 on the way for both players. Bunny is just going mass bio right here, reinforcing with Widow Mines. We're going to see, actually, he picks the fight against these Queens, but they have a little bit too much transfuse. He's away from the tanks. Wait, where is Bunny looking right now? He's dealing with a counterattack in the natural, and it looks like that's going to allow Lambo to take an okay engagement. I don't think there was any Banelings with the main army, which means that even though it looked good for Lambo on paper, he ends up actually getting cleaned up. Nice target fire right there on the Baneling. Bunny does need to lift up. He will be able to do so. And this super tank at 37 kills will finally get cleaned up. But Bunny is up 40 army supply now.
Yeah, and even the addition of these Hellbats, just from the Hellions you had it early on, it just makes it a little bit harder to run in. Great target fire on there on the Baneling on the last side. And remember, Steadfast, there are not many Banelings in this army. Every single one so important as here comes Lambo trying to make the break happen. Widowmine's not yet burrowed, and Bunny is going to get forced back, but only for a moment because here comes the rest of the army. Queens without energy, they're overextended. Are there enough Banelings in this army? Bunny splitting backwards, Widowmine about to go off. It actually doesn't go off, trying to get retargeted on something. It doesn't get anything. Even still, though, the army of Bunny is here. Now he's up 50 army supply. He pushes through, and Bunny, despite a shaky game number one, He wins game 2 off Lambo's misread. In game number 3, he just out muscles him. Bunny, 2-1.